Hello and welcome to another edition of Sparky Help, this time how to perfect a bubble set, or sometimes called a saddle set in steel conduit. It's for 1 minute of your time to like and share, or maybe even subscribe. Again, thank you and enjoy. So let's get started. How do we go from this to this? Well, first thing we need to do is measure the obstruction, whatever that happens to be. So here we got a piece of tray. We're now going to decide where we're going to put the measurement. Then that will obviously depend on how far away the box happens to be. So we're going to mark the top, and this is going to be on the back of bend mark, and I'm going to pull a bend depending on how big the obstruction happens to be. So the tighter the bend, or the bigger the bend, the closer the next bends have to be. So I don't want to pull about 45, it depends what it happens to be. So I'm going to pull a relatively smallish measurement. It's not an exact science. And take it out. And there we've got our first bend. I'm going to mark the top, the middle of this bend, wherever that happens to be, on here. What we need now is a straight edge. So I'm just going to put a line on the floor. Could be off the side of a bench. You decide, but just a straight edge, that's all I'm after. I've only done this just to show. And then offer up our bend, and making the centre of the bend, which we've marked on the conduit, and decide on our distance away. So we're going to measure up, which is going to match our obstruction we're trying to get over and not touch, hopefully. The important part with this is we're trying to work out where our next two bends are going to go. And we need to make sure these two bend marks are centre. So I'm just going to measure from the centre of marking there where it crosses the line, and making sure that the dimensions of each of these two bends that we're going to put in are the same. And now we're going to put it back in the bending machine. The important thing with this is I tend to use the stop on the first bend, so you'll see I'm putting it in on that one. And the stop is going to sit on the knuckle of the bend, as it were, and the line is going to line up with the back of bend mark, making sure it's all in line with each other, and pull half the bend that you pulled originally. This is the important part. Make sure you now turn it round, and because I used the knuckle of the bend, the stop now sits in the same position, and I'm going to put the line on the back of bend mark again and pull the same bend as I pulled a minute ago, in other words half the very first one. All being well, if we now look down, make sure it's all in line with each other, and we can always tweak it if we need to. We can then offer this up against a straight edge. So it could be on the bench, on the wall, on the floor. But I'm going to offer it up, just hold a bit of conduit, but adjust it as necessary. And you can use your eye for that. Offer up on a straight edge and check to see if it's all in line and it's all touching. Check and adjust as necessary, so it needs a little bit more to sit properly. Making sure, if you do this, make sure you put it in exactly the same way in the bending machine. And then finally offer it up on a straight edge. Make any modifications to suit, just to check all dimensions. And then with a tape measure, after you've made any modifications on it, with a straight edge, we can check our dimension. And hopefully that's all good. There you go, that's how to do the bend, and then hopefully when it all goes together, there's our bend, symmetrical, and then it can go over, whether it be over a piece of copper tube, making sure it doesn't touch, galvanised and copper doesn't like to go together, or over our original obstruction, which was a piece of tray. Hope that's helped. Sparky help, thank you very much. Don't forget to please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.